Well, it is another crisp mountain morning. We are headed out from, I think it was the Brown Fork Gap Shelter. We're doing a short one today because yesterday was 9.1, I think it was. It was a struggle, at least some parts of it. Some of it was great. It was the best walking day for sure that we've had because we were able to move up the trail and get going. But we were met at the end by Jacob's Ladder, which, boy, that was a serious climb. I think the word I used when I got to the campsite, or at least the one that I can put on video, was horribly unnecessary for us to do that kind of a climb. But it was good. So we're only doing 6 today and headed to another shelter. We'll probably be there by ourselves tonight because a lot of folks that we stayed with last night, they're headed on into the Fontana Hilton, which isn't really a Hilton. It's just a really, really nice shelter. They have showers and I think they have flush toilets and everything. But that's just at the beginning of the Smoky Mountains, which we're gonna start on Thursday. So our plan today is to do 6, get to the shelter, and then do about 6 or thereabouts tomorrow to the Fontana Lodge, stay indoors, get a shower, resupply, and then we'll head off into the Smoky Mountains for several days till we can get to Newfound Gap. And then we will get sucked into Gatlinburg for a day or maybe 2. We're kind of playing that by ear. Travis has not seen the wonders of Gatlinburg, Tennessee, so that's something that we'll be glad to show him. Maybe we'll meet Dolly Parton while we're there. We'll see what happens. Maybe she'll have a trail magic set up for through hikers there. Who knows? So we're gonna ring off here and head on down the trail. So far, easy tread today. Good job, bud.
Thanks.
So this was a little baby rock scramble that we had this morning. We're plowing through. We got today. I kind of got to wonder if that's what we came over yesterday. I'm not really sure. It could very well have been that. Who knows? But I feel like I'm seeing some water backed up down there, which is not completely out of the realm of possibility because we are hiking into Fontana Dam tomorrow. I don't know, I can't really tell. That may not be water, that may just be some flat area down there. But our walk has been good so far today. We're gonna carry on up the trail a bit. Yes, we're just a few feet further along than I was. This is our view to the other side of the mountain. And boy, every day is a new view. I know that probably looks a lot the same to you guys, but to be standing here in the midst of it, it's just incredible. I'm sure the camera doesn't do justice to what all we're seeing. We're gonna go over this little ridge right here. I bet there's gonna be a view right on the other side of that as well. So we'll see what happens. We are looking down into Fontana Lake. I recognize it down here. You can see the water level is way down. We read the other day when we went out for some recon on Saturday. They dropped the water level in the fall and winter, I guess to make room for all the runoff and rainfall and such that'll come back in behind. So it's really, the water level is really down right now. It's to pause and catch my breath. And I got out Peak Finder, which is a really, really neat app if you've not seen it before. It's an app that will show an overlay of your mountain ridge, but then it will name your mountains. And this one out here in the far distance, I think that, I can't see, I'm getting reflection, but I think it's right out there, should be centered up. That's Swim Bald, and that was one of our earliest climbs yesterday. That was our first big climb yesterday. So that's kind of where we've come. I'm not seeing the Jacob's Ladder. I'm not even sure what the name of that peak was, but boy, that was a climb. I'm still talking about it a day later. But so far today, we've had a really nice, pretty straightforward, easy ridge walk, and that's been pretty nice because this is the first day my knees really been barking at me. Doesn't bother me on the flats, even on the downhills where I can wind out and just continue walking. But boy, when we get into technical rocks and climbing over stuff, it's screaming at me a little bit. So we may have to up the ante on the ibuprofen a little bit and maybe even pull out the knee brace later on. We'll see how it goes. But I wanted to give you a shot about what we're looking at today. And Gavin should be coming up here behind me fairly shortly. We kind of discovered yesterday that a really good way for us to travel is for me to walk on and walk my pace because that helps my legs. and then to pause every now and again. And he's usually not too terribly far behind me, so he may have stopped to talk to somebody or oh, I see, he's stopped because he's listening to music out loud and he doesn't want it to interrupt my video. So he's back there, so I'm gonna head on down the trail. We'll see you shortly. I think that the views that are down into the valleys that we're hiking along down through are almost as neat as the ones of the ridge lines up above. We're just kind of out right now. There's no leaves on the trees. We can see through everything, and I'm glad of that because this is it's just a really cool view. We've got mountain laurels. I think I've seen a couple of American hollies, and there's dogwoods, or not dogwoods, rhododendron around, but it just kind of gives you a shot of down into the valley there that we're hiking just kind of along the lip of. It's really kind of neat. We've had mostly a ridge walk today, and it's been very pleasant. I never really get tired of seeing all these rocks in the valleys here, and the moss and the green. Absolutely, it's gorgeous. This is certainly a real treat every time I come on something like this, unless it's really hard to walk over, but I think this one's gonna be fairly straightforward and easy, kind of like the one yesterday. So we're gonna go up and around and see how things go for just a minute, because this is worthy of mention. You can sort of see these rocks right here that are laid out much like a sidewalk. That one right there is probably 5 feet long, maybe a little bit longer. If you go diagonal, it might be 6. And the reason I wanted to stop and pause is because pretty sure these rocks didn't fall like this. I think they probably fell more like these up here, probably kind of like those down there. Somebody had to put these rocks here, and those people are the volunteers that maintain the Appalachian Trail. There are, I want to say there's 14 or 15 different, maybe there's more, I've forgotten the number, different organizations from south to north that each have a responsibility of maintaining a section of the trail. Whether it's clearing blowdowns, you know, I've shown you some videos before where they've come in and just sawed through a section of log out of the trail where they've had a big tree to fall over that we don't have to climb over now. And even mitigating these little rock hops like this by placing these rocks very much like a sidewalk for us, or stairs or whatever. Now, some of them are nicer than others. This is going to take a little bit of going after, but you know, thanks to those guys that are giving of their volunteer time and efforts to come out here and make the trail easier for us to traverse. We appreciate it. Got right now, we're still ridge walking, but I wanted to stop and zoom in a little bit. I don't know if you can make that out or not, but that's also some of Watauga Lake, I do believe. We're getting kind of closer. That's where we're going to be on Thursday, so that's 2 days' time. And I guess we'll be hiking down eventually, so here we go. Come in, and we paused here to take our lunch. And there goes Higher Ground, Travis, and Hawkeye, Gavin. And we are halfway for our day. This is, I believe this is called Cody Gap up there on that sign. And we're gonna head on up the trail and we'll talk to you shortly. We are still just kind of walking down through the woods. You can see where the trail kind of comes down and goes around, and this has been a lot of what we've done today. It's really easy walking, so far so good. We're more than halfway to, ooh, got a root. We're more than halfway to our shelter for the evening, and so far have had to not expend very much effort going up hills, and honestly have had very little downhills. We had one little stretch early in the morning that kind of tested my knee. Well, I guess it wasn't really early in the morning because we didn't start till after 11, but anyway, early in our hiking day, it tested my knee a little bit, but this stuff right here I could do all day long without breaking a sweat. I'm gonna huddle on down the woods here and see what else we can see today. This is kind of a neat little place here. We got lots of water coming up right here. And my guess is this is gonna put us about a mile out from our place of rest tonight. We'll see what happens. We've got a really nice stream coming through here. We just filled up though, so we're good. We did add a water filter. We've been working with something called a Platypus gravity filter, and I like it. It filters 4 liters of water at the time, but if we're walking the trail and coming across a place like this and have no water, it's awfully slow, and you have to stop and take your pack off and fill it up and wait on it and prime it a little bit, and it's awfully slow. But we got a new filter called a Sawyer Micro, which is related to the Sawyer Mini and the Sawyer Squeeze, and it's a much faster little filter for us to use if we needed water at a source like this. But this is, I just love these mountain streams. I know you're likely tired of seeing them, but the way that they come and bubble across the trail is just absolutely, I think, phenomenal. And it just adds something to my day anytime we come across something like this. From it, I'm betting down there's our water source. There's I'm sure there's a stream down there. So that's what we got looking forward to. Just going to plow on up, and we'll show you the shelter when we get there. I'm filming into the sun, so this may or may not come out very well, but the phone does a pretty good job of looking up into the sun and stopping the camera down a little bit. So we'll see how it goes. Final trick. I was wrong. Right around the corner is when I stopped videoing before, and we're not half a mile from it. We are right on it. The shelter is just down the hill here. So we are approaching our final destination for this evening, and it's really early in the day. We're going to have a chance to sit down and relax and enjoy ourselves, I think, tonight. A few tents set up, I see. Hopefully there'll be some room in the shelter. I would love to sleep in there tonight if there's not many people. And I don't really expect a lot of folks tonight, because most of the folks we were with last night were going to go all the way into Fontana Village tonight, or to the Fontana Hilton, which is a really nice shelter that has showers and toilets and facilities, and you can get a little hitch down into the village to resupply. Not much there, but there's a little bit. Yeah, oh, yeah, that is a big knot. Gavin just pointed this out to me. Wow, that's humongous for a knot on a tree. And there's our shelter right over there. So we're gonna ring off and visit and see how things are situated, whether I need to throw up a tent or if there's room in the shelter. I'm not sure what we're supposed to do in camp at 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but we did our 6 miles, and it was a really easy walk. And we have been rewarded with this wonderful little stream right here, just running right down through our campsite. I mean, the shelter is 30 feet behind me, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. You don't get much of anything better than this. I'll wheel you around into the sun. So there's our shelter, and got some tent sites back up the way over here. I don't know whether you can see them up over that little ridge, but they're peeking through. But a wonderful hike today, and we're glad to be here.